Hi everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition. Today we're going to talk about saying it. No matter how crazy it is. Sometimes when we say it, that's the one thing that'll break the energy of it. If something is bothering you, if you have a lot of emotion around something, if you keep repeating a pattern and you're like, why do I keep going through the same thing? Because I think I've mentioned before, every time we go through a physical reality where something happens and we're reacting in the physical world, we're still burning through programming. We're just requiring that physical act because that's what's getting us to go to that place, to that emotion. We might not even identify what the emotion is. We might be sitting here and like, I don't really know what that emotion is. I don't even want to really look at it. I just know this is uncomfortable. Why do I have to keep going through the same uncomfortable thing again and again and again? Why do I have to keep doing it? So there can be different ways to work with this. After you've gone through it enough times, I know I've gone through one situation like 5 times, and I'm finally like, oh my God, like what am I missing? Why do I have to keep going through the same uncomfortable thing for the 5th time? What am I trying to break through? That's what you want to look at. And sometimes if you say it out loud, whatever it is, like if it's a money thing, you can say, okay, I don't have the funds for this thing. And look at how you feel about it. Because usually with a lot of stuff, relationships, money, health, those are normally things that are going to get to us. So whatever it is for you, say it out loud. Whatever you have to go and do that you don't want to do, or if you don't enjoy the job you're doing, or you keep having the same issue with the same person, what is the energy behind it? You always want to look at the energy behind it. What's the emotion? It's probably energy, more of the emotion behind it. But the energy too, because you can have a lot of built up energy in that emotion. What's the emotion behind it? What is it? Is it blame, shame, guilt, judgment? Say it and keep saying it and just let it come up. Let it come up and see, look how you feel. Like you feel terrible every time you say the phrase, whatever it is. Every time you say it and you're like, oh my God, I feel so shitty every time I say this. I've got so many emotions coming up. Keep saying it. Saying it sometimes breaks the cycle because what you're doing is you're energetically clearing it. You're clearing all the energy. You don't need the physical thing anymore. You're trying to clear it without the physical act. Most of the time when we raise in frequency, pretty much all the time, there's still be some things you have to act out, but you start doing everything very vibrationally. And you don't require the physical thing to happen anymore. When you're in your human, straight in your human body, right? And your human body is still very carbon based. You're still living from human realities. You run on emotions. That's what humans run on. That's why they burn out so fast. They run on human emotion. When you start to shift your consciousness, shift your body, you become more of a crystalline body, more light body, which is really just saying your soul body, different aspects of that soul body. Emotions are depleting. You don't really have a lot of emotion around a lot of stuff anymore because they start to really drain you. So when you got a lot of something, it's got to come up. It's got to come out. And if you keep repeating something, get to what it is about the thing you don't want to do. What do you not want to admit? Because really it's not so important what you admit because it's kind of a story. We only have an emotion around a story. The story's not true. We know the story's not true. If you say, I don't have the money for this, or I don't have the funds for this thing, there might be a lot of shame or guilt around that. Or I don't want to go to this, I don't want to be with my family for Christmas. It doesn't matter what it is. Like I said, that's not the point. Look at the emotion you have behind it. What's the story? Do you have guilt? Do you have judgment? Look at the emotions that starts coming up and just keep saying it. And look what that phrase triggers for you. And let it come out. If you're cry, start to cry. Let it come out. Don't judge whatever it is and just keep saying it. Knowing it's a story. Sometimes I'll say whatever it is for me and say, okay, I know this isn't true, but when I say this, I have an emotion around it. What's this part of this story I've constructed isn't really real. You can change the story. Instead of saying, I don't really want to be around my family anymore, You can say, I'm not aligned with this right now, but you're still getting triggered by, I don't want to be around the family anymore. I don't want to have to tell that to someone. I don't want to have to admit this to someone, whatever it is. And a lot of times when you're going through ascending your consciousness is having to say something you don't want to say. When things aren't all going rosy and you're working through programming and you're working through the money stuff, which is big for a lot of us, when you're working through the relationships, which is big for a lot of us, when you're working through what are you going to do for jobs because the old one isn't aligned anymore and the human one you had isn't really aligned anymore. What am I supposed to do? How do I say these things? And look at what it triggers. That's why you keep repeating it, because you're getting through it. You're just having to go through the physical act, having to have the physical reality again and again and again, because you can't quite get it. So every time you go through the physical reality, you're chipping away at it. You notice every time you do it, I'm not quite as upset as I was the last 4 times I did it, but it's still something there and I can't get to what it is. So really look at what it is, write it down. Say, all right, let's clear the energy. I'm gonna keep saying this so I don't have this reaction every time I say this word, see this person. It doesn't matter what it is. It just matters that you recognize you're getting a reaction. It's getting to you. That's why it keeps happening. Your body wants to clear it. So if you're not going to go in and try to clear it energetically, your body's going to say, okay, we're going to trigger this stuff to happen because you have to get this out. This is not aligned. This energy, the emotions you got going on, the energy you have around all these emotions, it has to break. So we're going to break you by doing a physical reality you can go through repeatedly, or you can work on it yourself. So look at what you don't want to say, look at what you keep repeating, and keep practicing the art of intuition.